If you're in the market for a 7-seater large luxury SUV, then I don't think you should look much further than the car I'm driving today. And if you haven't already guessed yet, this is the new Hyundai Santa Fe. And I say new, the new facelifted version of the Santa Fe, because this car has been around for almost 23 years. Yes, it's quite an old car, not this particular car obviously. So Hyundai launched the Santa Fe, named it after a town in New Mexico, back in the year 2000, and the first cars rolled off the production line in 2001. So at the end of this year it's going to be 23 years old. It's had 4 generations, 4 makeovers if you like. Well, it's actually it's had 8 makeovers, because each generation has had a makeover, and this 4th one is no different to all the others. Well, the car itself is extremely different to all the others. It's a lot bigger, it's a bit heavier, it's got a ton more tech on it, that's for sure. But what we need to do is get around it and see what this car's actually made up of, whether it cuts the mustard with the competition, and whether we think it's worthy of a test drive. My name's AJ, and you're watching me on the Player YouTube channel. And if you've never watched the Player YouTube channel before, check this out. This is how a car should sound. Listen to this. I didn't really push it either. I was just having a bit of fun. Oh, really? So there you have it, guys. The Ferrari Roma.
I think it makes a good work.
Let's go, mate. Nice to see you. Show us your big chopper, your helicopter. So here we are, the Morgan Roadster. Hey guys, guess what? It's another morning here out in sunny France. So with your Hyundai Santa Fe, he says, being blown away, you do get a number of different colour choices. If you like creamy white as a colour, you're in luck, because it's included in the price. Any of the other colours is 690 UK pounds extra. So do bear that in mind when choosing your colours. There are 2 trim levels to choose from as well. You've got your entry level car, which is called the Premium, which does come stack full of bits and pieces. I'll tell you that in a minute. However, if you want the kitchen sink level, which is basically everything, go for the Ultimate, and there's only a 3,000 UK pound price difference. We'll talk about the prices at the end of this review. With your entry level car, you get some really nice bits and pieces though. You get LED headlights, which have got auto dip beam on them as well. You get LED running lights, and you get LED rear lights round at the back as well. You get auto sensing wipers. Everyone has to have auto sensing wipers. You get these lovely chrome roof bars, or brushed aluminium more than chrome. 7 seats with this car, as standard, 7 seats. And the driver's seat is electronically lumbar controlled, which is really nice as well. You get 18-inch rims as standard, very similar to this, really nice again. And just to top it all, you've got self-leveling suspension with privacy glass round at the back. Let's take a look inside and see what you get inside for your premium level car. So up front, Santa Fe premium level cars get quite a bit of tech included in the price, which I'm pleased to say. You're going to notice there's around 40 or so buttons here. It's more like an airplane cockpit than a car. It's absolutely lovely though, very, very easy to use and very, self-explanatory basically. So you get climate control as standard, obviously. you get a lovely heated steering wheel. Got a heated steering wheel button there. Keep your handies warm in the winter. You get heated front seats as well. Again, absolutely lovely. You get an 8.5-inch TFT touchscreen. If you go for the Ultimate, that will jump up to a much bigger touchscreen. It's a 10.5, like the one we've got here. Also, slight difference on your instrument cluster as well. On the entry level, the Premium, you only get an analog cluster. On the Ultimate, you will get a fully digital cluster, which, as you can see, looks stunning. I much prefer that. It's really nice. These are the bits I was talking about that for that extra $3,000, you know, might be worth considering. Additionally, on this car, obviously you get a decent sound system. You've got a Krell sound system. It's got loads of speakers all around. You can really ramp that up using your Bluetooth connectivity or your Android mirroring or your Apple Play. And finally, just for a bit of safety, you've got front and rear sensors, you know, the beepers, and you get a decent camera as well. If you want to upgrade that, again, go to the Ultimate and then you get a 360 camera above included. So it all sort of kind of makes sense looking at the Ultimate, in my opinion. If you wish to further enhance your Santa Fe, be it premium level or ultimate level, you can purchase a luxury pack, which will give you some beautiful Napa leather seats like these ones here. You additionally get some brushed aluminium trim, which is all over the place. I think that really does look nice. You get some body coloured wheel arches and a couple of extra choices when it comes to the rims. Right, let's check out under the bonnet what the engine and gearbox configurations are. The bonnet release catch is down here, single pull, it's in the driver's footwell. Don't forget, if you're driving a left-hand drive version of this, it'll be in the passenger footwell. They're not going to swap it around. Costs too much money. Under the bonnet here, very easy to open. There's a catch here slightly to the right. It's offset. If you pull it to the left and then just let the bonnet do its work, it's got gas struts there, do it all for you. So it's so easy. I love that. No stays to mess around with. Okay, so a couple of choices on this car when it comes to hybrid. You've got a plug-in hybrid and you've got a full hybrid, or full fat hybrid as I like to call it. Now the plug-in hybrid, which is great, will offer you up to around 35 miles of all electric energy, but you will need to be plugging that in on a daily basis if you're using it every day. So if you're popping down the shops, taking the kids to the school, going, you know, taking the dogs out or whatever you're doing, up to about 35 miles, plug it in every day, and that could be the way to go for you. However, if you're using the car for longer distances and, you know, more mileage, you probably want to go for the full fat hybrid where it's self-charging itself. Again, it's still going to use electric power whenever it needs it, but you don't have to plug it in. When you get down to your Hyundai sales room, just have a chat with them and just work out probably, you know, which one is the one for you, depending on how you're going to use the car. Now, there are a couple of engine choices and a couple of gearbox choices that come with those engine choices. You've got a 1.6 litre turbo petrol engine, 4-cylinder. Now that will develop with the hybrid, the full fat hybrid, around 230 brake horsepower. If you go for the plug-in hybrid, it develops about 265 horsepower, but that doesn't mean it's going to be faster because the plug-in hybrid has a bigger battery and weighs more, but that equates down when you put your foot down because the 0 to 60 times are pretty much the same, and so is your top end, that and the hybrid. So between the two, not a lot of difference. You get a 6-speed auto gearbox with that engine, which again is really nice, and a choice of 2-wheel drive or all-wheel drive with this car. And again, we'll talk about the all-wheel drive and the 2-wheel drive functions when we get it out on the road. There's a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder diesel engine available as well, and that develops around about 190 brake horsepower. Again, available as 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive, but you will only get the 8-speed auto gearbox with that. There's no other choices. So at the end of the day, lots of choices, lots of options, stuff you need to have a chat when you go down to the Hyundai sales room, have a chat with the guys down there and decide what's best for you and your lifestyle. Round at the back of the Santa Fe, I think you'll agree with me, it's a pretty good looking car. It's really nice and compact, it's quite sort of rugged and urban. I love it. No fake vents, no fake exhaust sticking out anywhere, kept it all nice and simple. I do love the LED clusters either side that run all the way across there. You've got a roof spoiler up the top here, which is nice. It encompasses the brake light that's built in there. You get a wash wipe on the back. Don't forget you get privacy glass all the way around as standard. You also get this lovely sort of floaty screen. I call them floaty screens because there's no rubbers. So you get this lovely pin sharp line all the way around and the water doesn't sit in it and rust away at the bodywork there. All cars get an electronically assisted tail lift, and inside here, if I move the blind back, it's a blind version of the parcel shelves. I'm going to slide that back over there. Keeps getting caught on that seat belt at the back there. I did notice that earlier. Anyway, disregarding that, 570 litres of boot space just in that area alone. Don't forget, this is 7 seats. We've got the 2 seats at the back here put down at the moment. I'm going to pop them up in a minute and show you the space that you get here. But 570 there. Put those seats down, 60-40 split. 1,650 litres of boot space. You'd easily throw a couple of bikes in here. You can leave the front wheels on and everything. Throw the bikes in, you get about 9 dogs in there, 10 carry-on suitcases. I know that for sure. Absolutely amazing. Now, we're going to take the parcel shelf out. I'm going to show you how easy it is to remove. So one hand, just pop it across like that. It's on like it's got like a pump action. It's a bit like a gun. You can, yeah, reload, lock and load. Unfortunately, because this car has now become a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid, what you used to be able to do with this was pop it underneath here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pop the carpet up. So we slide that up and get my hand underneath. Put that out the way. It's got a little tab here you can put your finger in. I'm going to lift that up like that. Now, in the old days, that used to pop up like that, which was great. And then you could literally, quite literally, pop this in there. You can actually see where it goes, but unfortunately there's a battery here now and there's nothing you can do about this battery. It's in the way, you can't get this in, so unfortunately you're going to leave this at home, or you're going to end up having to store it on the floor at the back here. It's going to get damaged and this is quite expensive. I'm going to put it out the way for a minute. Hopefully it's not going to fall over. We had that happen a couple of times with different cars. So as I showed you, you've got the battery here, you've got the stupid pump and latex in here. Again, you're not going to be able to get a spare wheel on this car. So you're going to have to go for run flats, in my opinion. That's the best way forward with the tyres. Go run flats. Now I'm going to take this out. I'm going to show you these seats. So you take your carpet out, move that out the way, throw that over there for a second. And now I'll pull the seats back so you can see the 7-seat configuration. It's very easy to do this. Look at that. Pop these back there like that. And now you can see there's not a lot of space when you've got the 7 seats up. But the good thing is, when you want to pop them down again, pull it back like that, let them go. And that's where your 570 litres comes into play. I mean, it's unusual you're going to be using those 7 seats every single day. So you've got plenty of space there and you've still got a very, very spacious 5-seater car there. You've got 12-volt adapter over here. And in the back, well, I'll show you in a minute, you've got independent heating, you've got aircon in the back for the 7-seat, the 2 people right in the very back here. And tons of height in here as well. One last thing I have noticed, it's quite a high load level, very high load level. Look, it's right up to almost my thigh there. So if you're actually lifting stuff up, you're going to have to pull it right up to get in there. So that is a little, a little bit of a faux pas there. And also the back here needs something to cover up this plastic, otherwise it's going to get scratched and marked. Buy yourself what I call sticky back plastic. Clear stuff, you can stick it on there. Whenever it gets scuffed and marked, pull it off and go buy another piece. It's only like a £1 UK for a whole sheet of it. One good thing is there's no load lip on there, so you can literally slide stuff straight in there. Everything's nice and flat. This is very much a family car, it's obvious, but it's very practical. I really like it. Let's get in the back and see what it's like for the passengers. Check out the space in the back here. Look at the size of this entry hole, as they say. It is huge. You're going to get kiddie seats in here, no problem at all. You're going to get aged or older people in and out of this car, no problem at all. It's lovely. Look at the rake on the door, how far it goes back. Look at the size of this rear window. If you suffer from car sickness or something, this is massive. And don't forget, when you go that ultimate level on the trim level, you get things like the sun blinds. And if you look up, look at that panoramic sunroof. That comes with the ultimate level. Absolutely incredible. I love the light it's giving out as well. And also in the back here, you get heated rear seats with the ultimate level. This is so lovely. Talk about premium and luxury. Getting in the back, I'm not going to demonstrate it because you just make an old man look stupid. It's designed for the kids, teenagers or whatever. It's very easy to get in there. There's a seat over where cameraman is at the moment. You just push the button and that just folds down. In actual fact, I'm going to show you how it does that by just putting what we call a bit of B-roll over the top while I'm talking, so you can see it doing its thing. Nice and easy. But you can also fold the seat down this side as well. If you just hold the lever like that, just at the front there, and then there's a little lever on the side here. Look at that. You can just pop that all the way down. Now, if I wanted to, I could climb over there, but it's a lot easier that side. I'm going to pop that back up now. I've demonstrated that for you. It's not that heavy. It's a little bit awkward. You have a bit of a because it's well built, this car, really well built. It's quality at the end of the day. Pop that back there, you can feel everything, it's solid, feels really good. Look at the leg room. I mean, seriously, and the comfort in here. I don't often rant and rave how good it is for the passengers, but this is superb. The size in here and the way you feel like I'm being driven in a luxury limousine. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, let's take a look around, see what you get. In the centre here, you do get a nice armrest and a double cup holder. Okay, we've established that. You've got recessed seat belts. One thing I love Hyundai do, they don't do those stupid plastic poppy outy or, you know, things sprung loaded Isofix points cover. You just push it in. It's just simple. There's a little, you know, sign says Isofix point. That's where you put it. Why do we need all these extra bits of plastic everywhere? But look at the premium finish, the quality of this as well. Okay, this car has got the Napa leather, the extra, the luxury pack fitted to it. But it's so nice for an extra couple of thousand UK pounds. I think it's well worth it. You've got those heated rear seats as well. Oh, it's just stunning. And additionally, watch this for, you know, putting the seats back and relaxing. Ready? Look, keep going. Oh, you could really, look, I could actually put my feet up here like this. And if we're on a long journey, look at that. Just look at that. How nice is that? I love it. Get that blind over, get the panoramic roof closed off there. It's incredible, isn't it? You've got 2 USB points here, one either side, so there's going to be no arguing over there. Anybody's in the back here, they've just plug in either side. A little bit of a letdown. I was expecting independent heating, you know, like the dual zone climate control where you can actually change the heating in the back. You have got, you know, the air vents here which allow you to turn them. Well, you can't even really you can't turn them off. It's either off, you know, side. You just vent them whichever way you want them to vent. You've got the, you know, these things here, the pockets at the back. I don't know why we still get them. When I was a kid, you know, my parents used to keep maps in here and books because we were always, you know, me and my sisters had to read books when we were going. No wonder we got car sick. You ever tried reading when you're driving along? Another thing I think is a bit of a mistake in this car. It was a good idea, I think Hyundai had a good idea, was to be able to adjust the seat forwards and backwards. There's a little button here. You just push that and you can actually fold it forwards as well. This is all very nice, but you can imagine a couple of young kids wanting to annoy mummy or daddy who's sitting in the passenger seat. They're constantly going to be hitting that and moving you, and you're going to get angry and there's going to be a fight breaks out. So I think that perhaps isn't a family-friendly button, shall we call it. But guys, all in all, check it out. What a beautiful place to sit. I'd buy one of these and employ a chauffeur. I think that's the way forward with this car. Out on the road, the Santa Fe is impressive, absolutely impressive. First of all, you're going to feel immediately comfortable in this car. The seats are well bolstered. You've got that self-leveling suspension. It's like riding along on air, even on these bumpy B roads. When we get it on the motorway, it's as smooth as silk. You set it up in the cruise control and it really does just motor along beautifully. You've got this all-round peripheral vision. Absolutely love it. Plenty of glass in here, including that beautiful panoramic sunroof as well. It floods it with light when the sun's out, and that can open up as well, so you can wind it all the way back in the summer, turn the aircon off and get the wind in your hair. I remember those days. Anyway, joking apart, it is a very nice roof to have, and I think it's, you know, it's part of the ultimate trim level, so you get that if you buy the ultimate car. Another thing, talking about the glass, I love that little quarter light over here in the corner here behind the mirror. When you're doing, if you're parking or manoeuvring this car, it's a big car, as I said, and it's, you know, at the end of the day, that gives you a little bit more vision down there, and likewise over on the other side as well. It's just nice the way the mirrors are positioned as well, and the mirrors aren't as big as some mirrors that you get on these larger SUVs, but they're perfectly positioned and they're perfect size. You do get, obviously you've got the blind spot mirrors, we'll talk about safety in a minute, but that positioning is absolutely lovely. There's this pillar here isn't in, you know, it's not obtrusive at all, it's just perfectly set. In actual fact, the whole seating position where you're sat here, it's a little bit high, but I've got mine set high because it actually, you know, this type of car warrants you to want to sit up high, sit on it rather than sit in it like when you're in a little coupe or a hatchback or something. You want to command the road in this car. And trust me, this car really does make you feel like you're in command. although from the inside here, it definitely feels a lot smaller than when you stood outside looking at the car. You think, wow, that's a big car. But when you're actually driving it, even on these B roads, it doesn't feel as big and as wide as what it is. And that's a good thing. This car, you know, economy-wise, probably thereabouts. I'm quite happy with it. I'm not going to say, wow, it's incredible, because if you do get the plug-in hybrid, Hyundai say that you can get up to like 170 miles to the gallon. I just can't see that happening even with the plug-in hybrid. We're on hybrid at the moment. We're getting around about 35, 36 to the gallon, which for B roads and running around town is not bad. You know, at the end of the day, it's a big, heavy car. It's gonna suck that juice in. You're going to get better if we get out on a run, definitely. We're going to be up in the mid-40s is my guesstimate on that one. And as far as the plug-in hybrid, then obviously we'd have to test that to give you the stats back on that. But yeah, definitely it's okay on economy, but top-notch on quality, on comfort. You've got all the buttons and the gadgets here, very easy to access as well, very simple. Another thing you get with this are a couple of different drive modes. So the drive mode button here in the middle, it says drive, and it's just a simple knob that you twirl left and you can go into the different modes. So if you turn it left, you can go into the sport mode. It'll change the setting on your cluster here. On the digital one, it goes red, really nice. And then you get a different engine pitch, and it's, as you'll see, it picks up a lot quicker. Little bit of turbo lag I noticed, just a wee bit there. And then you can go into the smart mode. Now smart mode will assess the conditions you're driving in, it will assess the road, the style of driving, and it will just set the car up to its best, the way it thinks it is the best. Now you've got the lane departure mode there, it's a warning. You can turn that off, just to let you know. If you push the button down here on the bottom left, on your panel here, you just hold it in for a few seconds, and that turns it off. Only about 3 seconds, and then you won't be bothered by it. Keep going, boop, 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 you know, telling you when you go over the white line. It's a nice thing to have, but I don't think you need it on all the time. You've also got a terrain mode on here. So push it again, you go into terrain mode, and then you can change the terrain. You can go into snow mode, you've got mud mode, and then you've got sand mode. I can't imagine when you'd be using sand mode, but if you're buying this car and you live out in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or somewhere like that, you've got sand mode on it as well. So I'm going to turn the terrain mode off. We'll go back into drive mode. I'm going to leave it in economy because that's obviously the best. On a run, I'd probably put it in the smart because it's slightly more comfortable. But apart from that, there's your modes. That's your economy. Price-wise, well, we did say we'd talk about price before we get onto the safety side. Price on this car, premium car, entry car, will cost you from 43,000 UK pounds. I think that is absolutely amazing value for money. Definitely, even when you go to the ultimate for an extra 3,000, so from 46,000 UK pounds up to around 49, 50,000 fully loaded. What a car, that's all I can say. Let's go and check out and see what the safety equipment that you get on the ultimate, which is what we're driving today. When it comes to safety out in the Hyundai Santa Fe, you're not going to want for anything. This car is fully loaded, and I mean fully loaded. It's as good as any 100,000 plus pounds, UK pounds car I've ever driven. It's got so much safety kit on it. Let's start with all the basics. So, comes with, and don't forget, this is the ultimate trim, not the premium trim. The premium is your entry level car. The ultimate trim comes with everything. There's no extra bits and pieces you've got to pay for. That's what you get. And considering the price difference, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. But we'll talk about the pricing and what I think and the warranties and all that right at the end of this review. So let's talk safety. Basic safety equipment on this car. Simple. First up, you get all safety equipment, by the way, is controlled over here on the right-hand side of your steering wheel. Media's on the left. So safety on your right, media left, just to let you know. You've got cruise control, obviously. You've got lane keeping to keep you in your lane. You've got distance control as well. You switch that on and off. Very simple. And you can set that up here while you're driving along. Again, using the buttons down here. You've got lane departure warning. So if you come out of your lane, you've got speed limitations. You can set speed limits on this car. So it'll let you know if you're going over the speed limit. You can also set this car when you're driving on a freeway or motorway, it will pick up the speed limit. So if there's a variable speed limit, you can actually set this into the auto mode, and the car will detect as and when each speed camera comes up what that speed limit is. Genius, absolutely love it. Hyundai, you really have nailed it with that one, because that is saving you speeding tickets, and that, you know, nowadays you get points and you lose your license and things like that. Highly super important. Okay, so we've talked about the basic bits and pieces. Now let's start getting a little bit more advanced. So a lot of cars, you have to pay extra for blind spot mirrors. Now this car comes with blind spot mirrors, but they're not just blind spot mirrors. Oh no, Hyundai have gone that little bit extra further with the blind spot mirror. So blind spot mirror as standard comes up, pings up there if there's something in your blind spot. Great. But if you want to do a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn and you're on the freeway or the motorway or a dual carriageway, when you click the indicator like that, the rev meter turns into a camera, and you can see right the way down the side. That little camera is housed in that mirror underneath, and it's pointing down. I can see all the way down. And the same, if I do a left, I put the left-hand indicator on, there we go. It is now showing me down the left-hand side of the car. That is just amazing. When you're on the freeway, the motorway, whatever you're driving, you pull out, you don't have to wait. You can see straight away if there's a car there. If it hasn't even picked it up in that blind spot mirror, it's going to be there. Again, genius. I love it. Absolutely love it. Again, another thing, if you're in an area that you're not familiar with and you don't know what the speed limits are, like for instance, I'm driving here through the forest, it's telling me 60 miles an hour here is my speed limit. Now, that's great if you're in an area you don't know, it's there and it lets you know. It's also a little deterrent to keep your speed down as well. So you've got, you know, speed sign recognition on this car as well. If you've been driving for a while, I know this is going on, but it just is incredible. You've got more than 40 buttons in the middle here. Wait till I start on them. There's another bit. If you've been driving for a little bit and you're not sensing that maybe you should take a little break, this car will let you know when to stop and take a cup of coffee. Go and grab a cup of coffee. Have a break, AJ, it says. Well, no, it doesn't actually say my name. Pops up in the middle there and tells me I've been driving for a couple of hours or more. Suggests I should stop and maybe take a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Just have a relax for 10, 15 minutes. Brilliant, utterly brilliant. Parking, another good thing. This car comes with a front camera, a rear camera, and a 360 camera. You know, the one that looks down so you can see all the way around you. Again, absolutely brilliant for parking. On top of that, you've got the beepers at the front, beepers at the back. So you've got all that. I mean, it's almost next to impossible you're going to hit something in this car, which is great because it's going to save you a lot of money on your insurance if you start going around hitting things. You really don't want to be doing that, do you? So, you know, Hyundai's thought of that as well. On top of that, oh yes, there's more, there is more. It's got impending collision alert system. So it senses the road ahead of you. It's got a radar at the front. It's a bit like, do you remember that Michael Knight car, Kit? It can sense what's coming ahead of you. And if it thinks you're going to have an accident, it will apply the brakes and turn the car away from the accident. How superb is that? Absolutely brilliant. If you're reversing out of a space, it's got cross-traffic alert system. So it will sense traffic that's going backwards and forwards out of the bay where you're reversing out of. And if need be, will take over the car and actually stop you reversing back. In addition, yes, finally, we're getting to the last few bits and pieces. I know there's a lot to go through, but I wanted to tell you about it because it's so jam-packed full of all this stuff. You can actually maneuver this car using your key. I know it's not a safety thing, but it's quite handy, especially if you've got someone who has parked really tight either side of you, and you just push the little key button, engine starts, and then you can move it backwards or forwards. You can't actually steer, but you can go backwards or forwards. But utterly brilliant if you're in a tight space. Again, you're not going to scratch your door when you open it, or have to struggle to get in. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So at the end of the day, this car is definitely, it has to be, one of the most safest vehicles I have ever driven. So there you have it, the Hyundai Santa Fe, the fourth generation made over. It's been definitely made over. Look at the state of it. We really test these cars here at The Player. We love to get them out on the road. We love to put some miles on that engine. We love to give them a full review for you guys so we can give you an honest opinion of the car. And my honest opinion of this car is get down and give one a test drive, because I think value for money, comfort, just generally all round, it's an incredible car. On top of that, Hyundai give an incredible warranty. You've got 5 years unlimited warranty, unlimited mileage. You get 12 years anti-perforation. That's all your rusty bits. 12 years! There's no rust on that car, trust me. And even if there was, you're fully covered for 12 years. On top of that, you get 5 annual health checks. So So you go in completely included in that. They'll check the health on the car, make sure everything's up to scratch, and you've got 1 year's roadside assistance. I can't imagine you would ever need it on such a well-built car. It's an incredible bit of kit, and as I say, I think it's definitely worth a test drive. And when you compare it to any of the competition, the luxury large SUVs, the likes of Mercedes or Audi or companies like that, this is almost a third of the cost of one of them. It's a no-brainer in my book, absolute no-brainer. You've been watching me, AJ, on the Player YouTube channel. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review of the Hyundai Santa Fe that we've done this week. If you've got any comments or any questions, leave them in the comment box down below and one of the team will get back to you in due course. If you want to subscribe, because as you saw at the beginning of this video, we don't just do car reviews, we do all sorts of things. And if you find anything interesting, then subscribe and leave the bell unchecked, and then you'll get regular updates. Now, I would like to ask you one little favour here. If you could give us a thumbs up before you go, I'd really appreciate it. We don't get a bonus, don't get a pay rise, but it tells the boss that we've done a good job, and that keeps us in a job, the whole crew here. So we'd really appreciate that. And in return for that, I want to give you something for nothing. It's called the Player Bookazine, and it's an amazing thing that you can download yourself. It's 168 pages of everything us guys love. There's cars, there's boats, there's jet skis, motorbikes, holidays, golf, food, interviews, you name it, it's in there. It is actually a big hardback book, but I can't give you that because it costs £100 UK to send out to you. And I think my job is be on the line if I started saying you could all have a free copy. But you can have the online version, which is exactly the same as the big online book. There's a big book that we send out. So all you've got to do is go to www.theplayer.co.uk. It's a brand new website, nice and simple and easy. Now, hang on, I'm going to pull it in now. I'll leave it up down there for a minute. It's at www.theplayer.co.uk. You can see it down there. Got it. Right, just put your name in and your email address, and then you can access that bookazine straight away. You can download it or you can read it on the actual website itself. You can zoom in, you can flick the pages, you can do everything with it. It's really, really interactive. You're going to love it, and it's completely free of charge because you're watching us on AJ the Player YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next week with something different. I'm looking forward to it.